Remember, when it comes to the toddler, every bite counts for nutrition. So we're not only worried about growth and development, we're talking about brain development too. And there are those key nutrients we reviewed earlier on that are very important for brain development, which you can focus on as you make your food choices for your toddler. The best foods for your toddler's brain development depends on key nutrients so that your toddler can learn, remember, and engage with the world around him. In fact, the foods you feed your toddler can be an excellent source of these key nutrients for toddler brain development. In this video, I'm sharing some of what I think are the best foods you can offer your toddler to enhance and support their brain development. I'll also talk about how you might incorporate these foods into your toddler's daily eating plan. Because your toddler's brain is developing rapidly, and these key nutrients and foods can be super supportive, especially in helping your toddler learn, remember, develop their executive functioning skills, and engage with the world around them. If you want to learn more about helping your toddler eat well and the nutrition and feeding advice I have around pediatric nutrition, make sure you follow this channel and like this video and comment below. Okay, so what are the foods? What are the nutrients that help your toddler's brain develop? Let's talk about some of the key nutrients first. I'm going to whiz through these, but they are all very important. In fact, all nutrients are really important for your toddler's brain development, but a few nutrients contain essential elements and play a very specific role in the actual formation and growth of the brain. Number one, protein. Protein is a component of the neurons and the neurotransmitters in your child's brain. They are basically helping communication across the information pathway within the brain. Protein also helps build the structure and the size of your child's brain. Fat is another nutrient that's very important. Most of your child's brain is made up of fat, believe it or not, and it is important in communication, growth, and development of the function of the brain. Iron is another nutrient that is required for myelination. Myelin is a fatty sheath that surrounds and covers the neurons. That allows communication to flow throughout the brain. Zinc is another nutrient that's very important to brain functioning. We know that when children have a deficiency in zinc, there can be an impact on their reasoning, their intellect, and their memory. Vitamin B12 is another nutrient that's important. It is responsible for the production of serotonin and dopamine. Not solely responsible, but part of that process. And that serotonin and dopamine are feel-good chemicals in the brain. So that's connected to your child's mood. They say that a deficiency of vitamin B12 can take 7 years to show up, and a deficiency can cause irreversible neurological problems. Children who are being raised as vegan need to be particularly careful and attentive to vitamin B12 because they are at the highest risk for deficiency. Choline is another nutrient that is considered essential, which means that we have to get it from food. We cannot get it or make it within our bodies, so it is essential that it comes from our diet. Choline is involved in the structure of the brain, memory processing, and neurotransmission. DHA is a type of fat that is important for brain development and functioning. Sometimes we call it omega-3 DHA. It's a healthy fat. And not only is it responsible for brain function, it is also deposited in the retina of your child's eyes. And this makes it very important for vision. All right, so what are the best foods for toddler brain development? Well, the best foods are going to contain a good amount of these nutrients within them. And there are tons of foods that would really apply, I think, but I categorized a few of them and highlighted some of them so you can make sure that you're incorporating them into your toddler's diet. So nut butters are a great source of protein, fat, iron, and zinc, all 4 nutrients involved in brain development. So nut butters can be a peanut butter, cashew butter, almond butter. So nut butter is a general category, but mostly they all contain sort of these same key nutrients. Do what you would do with nut butter. Spread it on bread, put it on crackers, use it as a dip for fruit. Mix it into oatmeal or smoothies, or make your own hummus, which could use a sesame paste, which is a seed butter or seed paste, which could also incorporate more of those nutrients into your child's eating pattern. A good note to remember, though, if your child is allergic to nuts, you're going to want to stay away from nut butters. But there are some seed butters that your child might be able to tolerate. Things like sunflower seed butter or sesame seed butter may be a great alternative to nut butters if your child is allergic. Seeds offer healthy fats, iron, zinc, and vitamin E. There are lots of different foods that you can incorporate that take advantage of seeds. You can buy granola bars now that don't have nuts but are seed-based. They're great for kids who are allergic to nuts. So you can get pretty much the same nutrients for brain development from a seed-based food that you can from a nut-based food, for example. You can take a smoothie and add chia seeds or flax seeds. You can make chia pudding. Those are great options to incorporate more seeds into your child's diet. Like I mentioned, you can get a seed bar instead of a granola bar or a nut bar. And you can try roasted pumpkin seeds. So there's a lot of different seeds out there that I think we don't talk a lot about, but they can be a good substitute for nuts, and they can also be a good source of those nutrients that are important for toddler brain development. Dried fruits are another food group that offers a great source of iron and fiber. Now, the fiber isn't really tied into toddler brain development, but the iron is. So things like raisins, prunes, dried apricots, dried cherries. Some of these can be a choking hazard, so you may want to chop them up fine so they're not going to be a choking hazard. And then other foods like raisins are probably fine if your toddler is eating well and has good mastery of their chewing skills and eating skills. Eggs are a nutrient powerhouse when it comes to being a brain food. You have protein, you have fat. Some eggs are fortified with DHA. There is choline in eggs and vitamin B12. So eggs cover a lot, not to mention iron. They cover a lot of those nutrients that are important for your toddler's brain development. You can chop up eggs or quarter them, hard boil them, chop them up, add them to whatever you're making for lunch. Maybe it's just they're eating a hard-boiled egg on its own. You can serve eggs at breakfast time. You can make egg custard or egg veggie baked cups that are easy to freeze or refrigerate and eat on the go. If you're making pancake or waffle batter, you can throw an extra egg into the batter without changing things, but adding more of those nutrients to a pancake or a waffle. Dairy foods are great sources of those nutrients for brain development. Of course, there's protein and there's fat, but there's also choline and vitamin B12 in dairy foods. So we're talking things like whole milk. And you can decide whether you want to use whole milk or a lower fat version of milk. But remember, whole milk is going to have more fat in it, and that fat, particularly in kids under age 2, is going to be a very good benefit, not only for brain development, but also for their overall growth progress. Don't forget to incorporate yogurt. You can use plain yogurt and flavor it up with mashed fresh fruit or a low sugar jam mixed in. That way you can control the added sugar, but still keep it flavorful for your toddler. You can try cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is very rich in protein and can be mixed with fruit, can be mixed with even olives. I just learned that cottage cheese and olives is quite a mixture. You might chop those olives up so nobody chokes, but you can try different ways of using that. And then, of course, cheese. Cheese is a toddler favorite, and that can be a great source, again, of these nutrients that are so important for toddler brain development. And let's not forget about beans. They are full of protein, iron, and zinc. They're a great finger food for toddlers, and you can serve them whole, like pinto beans. You can mash them up like a refried bean and swipe it on a piece of flour tortilla and roll it up for lunch. There are lots of things that you can do with beans and get those benefits from those nutrients like iron and zinc and protein. Avocado, full of fat, and those omega-3 healthy fats are very rich in avocado. Again, you can cube it, slice it, mash it. There's so many ways. Serve it on toast or on crackers, or just let your toddler eat it all by itself. There's lots of ways you can serve avocado or incorporate them into smoothies and other things that you might be serving. Breakfast cereal is another food that is rich in those nutrients that are needed for toddler brain development. You'll find protein, you'll find some fat, you'll find iron and zinc, some B12. Most ready-to-eat breakfast cereals are fortified with lots of different nutrients, so they're a real powerhouse, and they're also quite affordable. Breakfast cereal doesn't have to just be eaten at breakfast time. It can be at snack time, part of lunch. There's lots of different ways that you can incorporate it, and it's a really good go-to food that's going to cover a lot of these nutrients we've talked about for your toddler's brain development. Canned tuna is another powerhouse, full of protein, healthy fats, iron, zinc, you name it, probably some B12 in there too. It's very good, nutritious lunch or dinner packed convenient food for you to use when feeding your toddler. If you're worried about mercury, you want to limit your toddler's tuna intake to 1 or 2 ounces at a time, or a total of 1 can of tuna per week. Remember, when it comes to the toddler, every bite counts for nutrition. So we're not only worried about growth and development, we're talking about brain development too. And there are those key nutrients we reviewed earlier on that are very important for brain development, which you can focus on as you make your food choices for your toddler. That's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video about the best foods for your toddler's brain development. Tell me, what foods did you hear today that seem like a no-brainer for you to add to your toddler's diet? Drop the food in the comments below and let me know. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video on the best foods for toddler brain development. As always, thanks for being here. Be sure to like, comment, and follow this channel, and I will see you next time.